Grok 4.5, GPT-5.6 Luna, and Claude Opus 4.8 just went through 5 head-to-head tests on cost, coding skill, speed, context limits, and deployment, and I scored every single one. The biggest surprise, the cheapest model of the 3, Luna, actually beats the most expensive one, Opus 4.8, on the single most cited coding benchmark out there. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one deserves your API key and which one is quietly burning your budget for a smaller edge than the price tag suggests. Let's start with the number that decides whether your monthly bill is manageable or terrifying. According to official pricing, Grok 4.5 charges 2 tash euros per million input tokens and 6 euros per million output tokens. Claude Opus 4.8 charges 5 or in and 25 or out. GPT-5.6 Luna, after its price cut, charges just 0.20 in and 20 out. Do the math, and Luna isn't just cheaper, it's in a different category. Cached input tells the same story. Luna runs 2 cents per million tokens against Grok's 30 cents and Opus's 50 cents. Artificial analysis also estimates a blended cost per task on their intelligence index, and this is where the gap gets almost absurd. Opus 4.8 at max, reasoning costs about 2.03 per task. Grok 4.5 costs 0.36. Luna costs 1 cent. Scale that to 1,000 complex coding tasks a month, and Luna's total bill comes out around $10. Grok lands around $360. Opus lands around $2,030. GPT 5.6 Luna takes this test clean, no contest. That's 10 times cheaper than Grok on input, and roughly 25 times cheaper than Opus. I went through the official docs, model cards, and pricing pages from xAI, OpenAI, and Anthropic, then cross-checked every claim against independent trackers like Artificial Analysis and BenchLM. So nothing here is just a press release repeated back to you. Cost doesn't matter if the model can't actually write good code, so let's look at raw skill. On SWE Bench Verified, Luna scores 93%, and Opus 4.8 scores 88.6%, both measured, independently tracked numbers. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Grok 4.5 has no published figure here at all, so I'm not going to guess at one. That's the surprising result from the hook. The cheapest model of the 3 posts the highest score on the benchmark most people actually cite. But SWE Bench Pro tells a different story. This is a harder, more realistic test, and here Opus 4.8 pulls ahead at 69.2%, with Grok 4.5 at 64.7%, and Luna trailing at 62.7%, all measured numbers. Terminal Bench 2.1 flips back toward Luna, which scores 84.7% against Grok's 83.3% and Opus's 78.9%. And on the Artificial Analysis Coding Agent Index, a composite score, Opus 4.8 leads at 74.3%, just ahead of Grok's 72.5% and Luna's 71.5%. So it's genuinely split. Luna wins the benchmark most people know by name. Opus wins the harder, more agentic tests. Based on winning 2 of the 4 measured benchmarks, including the hardest one, Claude Opus 4.8 takes this test overall, but barely, and Luna is nipping at its heels for a fraction of the price. This is where things stop being close. According to independent measurements from Artificial Analysis, GPT 5.6, Luna outputs around 157.1 tokens per second. Grok 4.5 outputs around 61.7 tokens per second. Claude Opus 4.8 outputs around 59.3 tokens per second. Luna is putting out more than 2.5 times the tokens per second of either rival. Time to first token makes the gap even more obvious. Luna responds in 2.13 seconds. Grok takes 9.26 seconds. Opus takes 25.83 seconds before it even starts typing. Think about what that means in a real coding session. You ask Opus for a refactor, and you're waiting nearly half a minute before you see a single character, even before the answer starts generating. With Luna, you're already reading the response. If you're running an agent loop that fires off hundreds of calls a day, that latency difference compounds fast. GPT-5.6 Luna wins speed, and it's not close. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Context windows decide whether a model can hold your whole codebase in memory, or forces you to chop your project into pieces. Official specs put Grok 4.5 at 500,000 tokens, GPT 5.6 Luna at 1.05 million tokens, and Claude Opus 4.8 at 1 million tokens. Luna technically leads here, with Opus close behind and Grok sitting at half the window of either rival. On max output tokens, Luna and Opus are tied at 128,000 tokens each. Grok's official output limit isn't published, and third-party trackers disagree with each other, so I couldn't find a reliable figure to score it against. GPT 5.6 Luna wins this test on the strength of its larger context window, with Opus effectively tying on output capacity. There is a real caveat on context and output limits worth naming before we score it. That's an honest gap in the data, not a guess I'm willing to make. Last test, can you actually get your hands on these models, and what do they ship with? Claude Opus 4.8 has the widest reach by far, available through the Claude API, AWS Bedrock, Google Vertex AI, and Microsoft Foundry. It also ships with features the other two don't have, at least according to vendor claims. A fast mode running at 2.5 times normal speed, computer use, and parallel subagents. GPT 5.6 Luna is available through the OpenAI API, ChatGPT, Codex, and Bedrock, tightly integrated for anyone already in that ecosystem. Grok 4.5 runs on the XAI API and shows up in Cursor and Grok Build, which is a smart distribution move even without matching the platform reach of the other two. On modality, all 3 handle text plus image input, and that part is a genuine tie, though I'll flag that broader modality claims from AWS's model, cards are vendor-claimed, not independently verified. Between platform availability and feature depth, Claude Opus 4.8 wins this test. Grok 4.5 beats Luna on the harder SWE bench protest 64.7% to 62.7%, and its cost per task sits well below Opus at 0.36 versus 2.03. But it doesn't lead outright on a single one of the 5 tests, and its 500K context window is the smallest of the 3. GPT 5.6 Luna wins cost, speed, and context outright, and it even takes the SWE bench verified crown at 93%, ahead of Opus's 88.6%. At 1,000 tasks a month, it costs roughly $10 against Opus's $2,030. Claude Opus 4.8 posts the best score on the hardest benchmark, SWE Bench Pro, at 69.2%, and the widest platform availability of the 3. But that comes at 25 times Luna's input price and a 25.83 second wait just to see the first token. GPT 5.6 Luna is the winner here, and it's not particularly close. It wins 3 of the 5 tests outright, cost, speed, and context, and it splits the coding benchmark test by taking the single most cited score, SWE Bench verified, at 93%. Claude Opus 4.8 is the smarter model on the hardest, most agentic tasks, and if your budget can absorb 2.03 per task instead of 1 cent, that edge is real and worth paying for. But for the vast majority of day-to-day coding work, you're paying 25 times more for a benchmark advantage that only shows up on the toughest slice of problems. Grok 4.5 is a competent all-rounder that never leads a single test on its own. GPT 5.6 Luna is my default pick because it delivers roughly 90% of the capability at 10% of the cost, and it's dramatically faster while doing it. Here's the thing marketing won't put on the pricing page. XAI advertises Grok 4.5 at 2.3 input and 6.0 output per million tokens. But according to official XAI docs, once your prompt crosses 200,000 tokens, that rate jumps to 400 input and 1200 output. That's double the advertised headline price, and it kicks in exactly when you're doing the large context coding work Grok is supposedly built for. If you want to see how these 3 stack up specifically on front-end and UI generation, that comparison is coming next, and the ranking flips in a way that might surprise you.